I think gold will go higher than anyone thinks possible and won't ever come back down. It will be tied to a new system. We are in the midst of seeing that right now. I believe that the BRICS nations will use it as a settlement tool to settle imbalances through a myriad of vaults that are being built through the Shanghai Metals Exchange and others, the Moscow Exchange, St. Petersburg, Shanghai. Now there's one in Hong Kong. Shanghai is building one right now in Saudi Arabia. They're going to do it throughout the whole Belt Road. You have the BRICS exchange. All of these exchanges will be the settlement through trading local currencies, central bank digital currencies, over bridge networks that are not SWIFT compatible. In this side of the world, it will back the back end of the treasury market. We've talked about that a lot. It will not come back down. It will be repriced most likely, but there is a relationship between gold and silver that is historically out of whack, as is the geological ratio. So for a speculation that I would say is the finest speculation I've ever seen, it would be go heavier on silver with the intention of trading to gold at some point. Could that work out? Absolutely. It has before. Could there be a fly in the ointment? Absolutely. The public finally wakes up. There's not enough gold to go around. Could that happen? Sure. So it's a speculation. So if I had one buy and only one buy, period, might be gold, even at these levels. But if I'm looking for pure value and might be the trade of a generation, that is the silver to gold swap at some point, I'd go much heavier on silver. Maybe you don't have to do either or. Again, don't look at life as being mutually exclusive in terms of your choices. There's greater potential in silver. There's something safe about gold. I think you'll see it or feel it when you hold it in your hand. And again, motivation for me is less about profit and more about getting out of the way of what's coming. And again, remember what I just said about measuring the value of the dollar in gold versus in other currencies or the dollar index. If you take any asset you can think of, period, any asset. What did I do? Oh, I don't have it. I had a piece of paper. I wrote something down. I was in the other office. About any asset and measure it in gold ounces, you'll see prices are falling. You measure it in dollars, everything's going up. When you're talking about an IRA and using gold and silver for it, most people are contacting companies because they're concerned about a collapsing dollar. And in that respect, it's not about the fancy schmancy coins or those that they call are fancy or premium that are actually the opposite of that. There is no premium in what they are said. The only premium to me would be American Eagles and Buffaloes, period, in gold and in bullion, period. You want premium, you can't get it in an IRA, and that would be high grade pre 1933 numismatic coins. You better know what the hell you're doing before you even step foot in that. But coins that quarter ounce coins that made by mints that we all know, but designs that you can't find on any single website that you find, well, that's a problem. Why can you do that? Because there are mints like the Royal Canadian Mint that will allow us to do that. We have an exclusive on the Canadian Rockies coin, where we had an artist take a picture of the Rockies and they made it into a die, and we have exclusivity on that. It's a 2-ounce coin. They won't let you do it in one. I have those. I sell them for roughly same price as Maple Leafs or less. Most of the companies that we talk about would say, well, this is a premium coin and it's very limited. Sure, so is mine. Who cares? Try and sell it to another company and call it limited, and they'll say, no, we don't stock these. No one knows what they are, so we're not going to give you the big bid you want. So they're not premium. What they are is very nice bullion coins. And what these companies do is call them something that they're not and charge a massive premium. You want to buy the best, buy gold American Eagles and gold American Buffaloes and silver American Eagles, period. And you will never have a problem. And not the proof coins, the commercial strike, the regular coins that you see on every dealer's website. Seeing Stephen Mirren fill one of the vacated spots there is intriguing as hell because he's the architect of the Mar-a-Lago Accord, and which is a lot of the thesis that I've been talking about for a while. So I don't know, but it will certainly be someone that I think understands what President Trump is trying to do. Look, when the profit level is at most on a very large order, it could be 1% or less. On a tiny little order, it could be 3%. That's what we make. So you know, a lot of these companies will make 100% or 200%. These are the same companies that say, if you buy 100,000 in gold, we'll give you 10,000 in silver, or buy 100,000, we'll give you 10,000 free. My ass, you will. I mean, that's the whole thing. They give it to you at the Fugazi prices that they're making 300%. And how much are they making on the order? On a $100,000 deal, we'd make at most 2% before shipping. So how am I going to give you $10,000 worth of free silver? What got the snowball running down the hill was selling, huge selling by short positions that were, I think, trying to cover, but by banks. And the selling happened after New York had closed, before Asia had opened, in the access market, where there's zero liquidity, where there are no traders there to say, I'll take it. Instead, dumping billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars worth of gold and silver all at once in the access market is more stupid than a mud wall in a hurricane. There isn't a trader on the planet that would do it. They would be fired and shot, and not in that order. It specifically guarantees the absolute worst settlement. It guarantees that it's going to collapse the price because there's no one there to pick it up, and trigger sell stops that are algorithmically laid out for the black box programmed funds that when these levels are reached, bang, they sell, which selling begets selling begets selling begets selling. And they conveniently forget to tell us that instead of it being bled out through New York trading, where there's great liquidity over a few days or several hours at least, it was dumped in the middle of the evening in between markets where there's no liquidity. That trader guaranteed himself the worst settlement, or, as I've said on your show a few times after things like this, a drive-by shooting. And what was also interesting was that who came in and scooped things up on the cheap on Friday, I don't remember what night it was already, but the silver price gets slammed around 8 or 9 o'clock, again, in the middle of the access market, and it pops right back up into the green. Why? And gold about halfway up. Because remember, all the sell stops that are triggered along the way pushes it down further and further and further. It's a snowball getting into a giant boulder. Bank of America and Morgan Stanley were the two that came in and bought massive amounts of physical. Over 6,000 gold contracts over 3 days we saw late in the delivery month. Normally, and I'll get to the significance of those two in a second, but normally when you stand for delivery, you cite your intentions on the first day of delivery. October 1st would have been this case for the delivery. These were done on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. And I think they were the dates. And this was done by shorting the December futures price, buying an immediate October contract, which stands for delivery right now. So it set a record 3 days in a row for deliveries that late in the delivery cycle. We've already, put on my glasses here, we've already delivered this month alone, by the way. This month alone, we've delivered into COMEX 58,639 contracts of gold times 100 ounces. It's 580,000 ounces of gold. I mean, so who's taking all of this gold every single month? Well, I think it's Bank of America and Morgan Stanley. That's what Michael Lynch says. He showed proof that they came in. Well, why is that significant? Well, Morgan Stanley just came out and changed their 60-40 allocation model that's been Wall Street mantra for over 50 years. 60 stock, 40 bonds. You just do that in a period of falling interest rates, you retire wealthy. And they said, no, it's 60-20-20, their chief investment officer said. And then Bank of America, Michael Hartnett, their highfalutin analyst who charges 10 grand for his letter or more, no, 25, 25, 25, 25. 25 stock, bonds, short-term treasury, gold. So you got Wall Street analysts at the highest level speaking to institutional traders saying 20 to 25% allocation in gold. They've never done that. And they're the ones who came in and bought it right up the physical. So when analysts, these so-called idiot analysts on mainstream say, yeah, well, these are the reasons why, and it's probably topped. Well, maybe they should say, but by the way, they dumped it when no one was there. There isn't a trader that isn't high on heroin with a half a brain cell that would dump that amount of metal all at once when there's no one there in the access market in between New York and Asia. It's guaranteed to give you the absolute worst settlement. So they're telling you one thing, but omitting maybe the most important thing in the world. And that is, how did it start? And then you get all of the selling that goes along with it. So I don't know. I think that, Mark, people need to just take a step back and look. We're way up again today. I don't know what we're up. What are we up today? We're up $70 in gold and $1.35 in silver. So it's moving in the right direction again.